I'm Sharon Woodrum with Personable Pets Dog Training. This is Scooter, and welcome to 3 Dog Bakery's Training Tip Tuesday. So I've spent the last couple of days packing up the office, and I'm moving all of my equipment back to the training center. As communities start to loosen up these stay-at-home mandates, a lot of us are going to find our lives going back to normal. And although we may not know what normal looks like, it most likely means leaving your dog at home while you go back to work. So if you fall into that category, now is the perfect time to start preparing your dog for the transition. So if you brought a puppy home during this time, or maybe even adopted an adult dog, you have your own set of challenges. All that dog knows is you being home. So start thinking about what life looks like when you go back to work, and let's introduce our dogs to that now. If you plan on crating while you're gone, pull that crate out. Start having short little crating sessions. Maybe just leave the house, walk around the house and come back in. Maybe drive up to the store and come home. But let's start getting our dogs used to the crate and help them understand that they're safe and everything's okay, even if you're not there. Another thing that I want you to consider is potty training. How far along are you in the house training process? If you go back to work and that means you're gone for 8 to 10 hours, can your dog hold it that long? If not, you might need to find someone to come in and take them out for a potty break for you. And if you can't do that, you might have to build an area with a potty pad so that they have a place to safely relieve themselves. And if it turns out you're going to have to build an area, do that way in advance so they get to use it and understand how it works before you go back to work. And if you're sitting there thinking, I don't have to worry about potty training because my kids are going to be home, I'm just going to warn you that kids are sort of known for getting so involved in what they're doing that they forget to take the puppy outside. So if you do plan on transitioning the house training responsibilities, do it now. Do it in advance to make sure that person knows exactly how the process is supposed to work. And one last thing I want to caution you on, especially puppy owners, one of the biggest issues we've had to deal with is the lack of opportunity to socialize our puppies. All our puppies know are family members and our house and maybe some walks through the neighborhood. So once you get the okay and we're allowed to go out and interact in society, I don't want you to rush socialization. I don't want your puppy to go from hanging out with just family members to immediately being touched by a lot of strangers. So go slow. Whenever you take your puppy out, take really good treats. And maybe at first, other people just give your puppy treats when they meet them. Maybe when you meet another dog, you just walk with the other dog. You know, if it takes a couple of days for people to actually start petting your puppy, that's fine. We would rather go slow and make sure that your puppy is comfortable than to go too fast and possibly scare them. If your dog was comfortable with your work schedule before, it probably won't take long for them to get back into the swing of things. Although there may be some areas that you need to tweak. So for example, my friend Scooter here has started sleeping in sometimes until 10 or 11 o'clock in the morning. And that's not going to work when I have to get up and leave the house by 8 or 9. So I'm going to have to make a concerted effort to start getting him up earlier so that our schedules can get back in sync. Also, if you used to put your dog in a crate before you went to work, if he hasn't seen that crate in the last 30 days, now's the time to pull it out, dust it off, and reintroduce him. And maybe start with short little sessions, crate him up while you go outside and mow, or crate him up while you clean the house, and then slowly just start extending the crating periods. And one thing that I want to warn you about, even if your dog was fine before when you used to work, the first couple of days that we leave them at home, they might get stressed or become a little bit anxious. And dogs usually display stress or anxious behavior in excess chewing. So before you go back to work, I just want you to look around the house and puppy-proof. Pick up anything that's valuable, maybe anything that would look enticing for a dog to chew. And maybe what you do the day you actually leave the house is give them a foodstuff toy so that if they do get stressed, they have an appropriate object to take their stress out on. This is the Orby. We've got this from 3 Dog Bakery, but don't hesitate. If you don't have a foodstuff toy at home, call our friends at 3 Dog Bakery and they should be able to hook you up. Here you go, you want it? And one more thing that you might want to think about. For the day that you actually go back to work, you might want to get up a little early, take your dog outside, and have an extra play session before you leave. That way you're helping them use up any excess energy before you leave them for the day. So we've talked a lot about preparing our dogs for when we go back to work, but we also need to prepare ourselves. It's going to be tough that first day that you walk out the door and you have to tell your dog goodbye. But I want to caution you, do not make a big deal of it. If you make a big deal about leaving and you make a big deal about coming home, those are going to become big deals for your dogs. And then very quickly, his behavior is probably going to start escalating in both of those situations. So that first couple of days you go back to work, I simply want you to casually say goodbye to your dog, walk out the door, and keep moving. And when you come home from work, when you walk in the house, you can casually say hi, but keep moving. Walk in the house, take off your shoes, put up your purse, hang up your jacket. Give your dog a little bit of time to calm down before you turn around and engage with them. And also, I want you to be patient with your dogs. Even if they were comfortable with your work schedule before, we've been home a lot. They've gotten used to a new normal. So those first couple of days you leave, they may get a little stressed or anxious, and they may chew something up that they shouldn't. So if you come home and your dog has chewed something up, don't overreact. Just clean it up, look around the house, puppy-proof one more time. Be sure that you leave them the foodstuff toy when you walk out the door so they have something to use up all that excess energy on. But just be as patient with them as they get used to their new normal as we need to be. So I think that's it for today. I think we're probably all a little excited to get back to normal, whatever that is. But I bet we're also going to miss hanging out so much with our dogs. So thanks, everyone. Have a nice day.